Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. And I thought tonight's Raw, while it wasn't a terrible show by any means, it was very hit or miss in some parts of the show. But it was an okay show, but it wasn't terrible by any means. But the show opened up with them having a moment of silence. Because of the terrible tragedy that happened in Vegas last night. A lot of people down there were injured, and some were even killed because of some stupid guy who went on a shooting rampage and decided to shoot, I think, from like out of a window or something like that. But I saw it on the news this morning. First thing I wake up in the morning and I see that, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad for all those people down there who, got injured, and, all the people, the people who were killed in this whole tragedy just because of some stupid lunatic. But yeah, so they open up the show with that. They had a moment of silence. And then after that, we had Braun Strowman versus Seth Rollins, and this was a decent match. Flowed perfectly. I enjoyed the back and forth between Strowman and Rollins during the match. Mostly you had Strowman just dominating through the match. You had at one point where Rollins was gonna go and hit Strowman with the elbow, and then like when he dives outside the ring, but Strowman just came back and then just hit Rollins with a right arm, which was crazy. And then you had Strowman win the match with a running power slam to Seth to score the win. And then after the match, you had just Strowman giving Seth another running power slam. Dean Ambrose ends up coming out, and he starts to take out Strowman, and then we see Strowman give Dean 2 choke slams and then a running power slam, and Cesaro and Sheamus end up coming out. Cesaro gives a neutralizer to Dean, and then we see Sheamus hit a bro kick on Seth. So, but all in all, it was a decent match between Strowman and Seth. Really enjoyed it. Decent match. And then after that we see Mickie James walking backstage, and Alicia and Emma are there. Emma ends up telling Mickie that she received gifts in her locker room, and Mickie ends up walking into her locker room, and we see like a walker and diapers there, and Mickey's not really happy about that. And then we see Alicia, Emma and Alicia Fox just laughing at Mickie, and Mickie ends up going to Alexa's locker room, just banging and knocking on the door. And we see Nia Jax open the door. Alexa says, she doesn't want to be in the ring with Mickie because, she's a mature woman, as, she calls it. But she ends up saying, Nia doesn't have an issue with her. And Mickie ends up telling Nia, she's on. So later on tonight, it's going to be Mickie versus Nia. So, and then after that, we just had Bray Wyatt, cutting a promo saying, "Oh, she told me everything. She told me everything." Some promo that he did. And then we see after that Elias, out there singing, talking shit about Denver and saying, "Oh, how he has to beat Titus O'Neil." And then we move on to the match, which was Elias versus Titus O'Neil. Very shitty match, in my opinion. You had at one point where Apollo Crews ended up, interfering in the match, trying to stop, Elias from taking out Titus. And then Elias got the win with the drift away on Titus to score the win. Shitty match, in my opinion. And then we had Mickie James versus Nia Jax. Alexa was out there, outside of the ring, just watching the match. And this match was okay. Wasn't great, or wasn't great or perfect though. But it was back and forth between Mickie and Nia. He had some points in the match, Nia dominating through the match and taking out Mickie. The match ended in a DQ because Alexa, came in the ring and started, taking out Mickie. So Mickie James won the match by disqualification. After the match, you had Mickie just take out Alexa. Mickie ended up throwing Alexa into, the barricade, and then you had just Mickie, kicking Alexa. So pretty much, like I said, it was an okay match, but wasn't great or perfect. Didn't love it by any means, though. Then we have Renee Young interviewing Enzo, and we just saw, like, Renee asked Enzo a question, and Enzo was just, like, dead silent through the whole thing. He had, like, nothing to say. So we had that. And then we see Mickie getting interviewed by Charlie, and Mickie says, she would picture herself as the new Raw Women's Champion. Kurt Angle ends up coming out saying to Mickie that she has an opportunity at the Raw Women's title against Alexa at TLC. So pretty much what I'm thinking is it's going to be, it's of course going to be Mickie versus Alexa at TLC for the title. And I think Alexa might retain the title at TLC. And then that, will bring in Asuka, because Asuka is set to debut at TLC. And so I think it's going to be Alexa versus Asuka for the Raw Women's title. And I think Asuka is going to beat Alexa, and Asuka is going to become the Raw Women's Champion. So I picture that happening. Maybe that will happen at Survivor Series. They're probably going to hold up. They're going to probably hold Asuka's win until Survivor Series. She'll win the title there. She'll win the Raw Women's title there and defeat Alexa. So that's pretty much how I'm seeing it. So then after that we had Gallows and Anderson versus Matt Hardy and Jason Jordan, and this was a decent match. Found it pretty entertaining. Jason Jordan did decent in the match. Matt Hardy also did a decent job here. It was back and forth between both of these teams. Pretty much you had, it was back and forth, and you had Hardy and Jason Jordan do, pretty much, taking out Gallows and Anderson. But in the end, the match ended with Gallows and Anderson hitting the Magic Killer on Matt Hardy, because Jason Jordan was trying to take out Anderson, and you had Anderson just reverse, because Jason Jordan was trying to lay out Anderson, but Anderson did reversed it, and then he just threw Jason Jordan into the barricade. So, but overall it was a decent match, I gotta say. Pretty much enjoyed it. Then we had Charlie interviewing Roman Reigns about what happened to Dean and Seth, being decimated by Braun Strowman. Roman says that Dean and Seth aren't really worried, and Roman says that his focus is on Miz and the Intercontinental Championship, and Roman ends up saying that he hopes to break Miz's jaw and leave Denver with the Intercontinental title. So pretty much it was a little interview with Roman Reigns. Then we had the Susan G Komen little segment with three women who were breast cancer survivors, and Dana Warrior was there, Ultimate Warrior's wife, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool segment where it was revealed that all three of those women got a WWE would say like women's title, but it was in pink, because of it's breast cancer month. But it was pretty cool. It was really nice how they awarded those three women who survived breast cancer those titles. It was pretty cool. It was deserving of them for them to have them. So, but it was a little nice. It was a little nice segment. And then we had Roman Reigns. After that, we had Roman Reigns versus The Miz for the Intercontinental title. Before the match even started, the way how Miz and Curtis and Bo made their entrance, they came down through the crowd like the Shield, which was really funny. And then Roman Reigns has them coming out. Before the match even started, Roman ended up taking out Bo and Curtis, and he hit Curtis Axel into the crowd, and we saw Roman end up taking a chair out from under the ring. He started chasing after Curtis, and Curtis ended up getting on stage, and we just see Roman just hit a chair in the back of Curtis Axel. He did the same thing to Bo Dallas. There was a couple of Superman punches that Roman Reigns did to Bo Dallas, and then it was eventually one-on-one between Roman and Miz, and gotta say it was a okay decent match between the both of them. Obviously, I knew that Miz was still going to retain the title, and some disqualification was going to happen. So, but it did end up happening. Roman Reigns ended up winning by disqualification because Cesaro and Sheamus got involved. They pulled Roman out, and them and Miz, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Miz started taking out Roman. Cesaro ended up hitting a neutralizer, and then Sheamus hit a bro kick, and then Miz ended up hitting a skull crushing finale on Roman. So all three of them pretty much, decimated Roman. So it's the second week that Roman was, just laid out and, beat up. Last week it was Miz and, Curtis and Bo. Now this week it's Miz. It was Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus ended up laying out Roman. And they think that they're done with Roman, but then they go back in the ring. They start beating up on Roman more. And then all three of them, after they just lay out Roman once again, they all, mock the Shield and do the fist pound. So I'm like, this is confusing because, Miz and Curtis and Bo did it last week, and now Cesaro, Sheamus, and Miz do it this week. I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on with this storyline? So, but all in all, Roman Reigns versus Miz was okay. Okay, decent match up until the end. Then we had, after that, Finn Balor ended up coming out and says that, he doesn't like to come out and talk, and that, when he only wants to come out and fight. And he says if Bray Wyatt had the whole world in his hands, he wouldn't know what to do with it. And he ends up calling Bray a coward. He says Bray is afraid of him, and that he beat the demon. And then we see Bray Wyatt on the Titantron saying to Finn that he lied to him and that he was different. Bray ends up telling Finn to show his true face, and he tells Finn, Abigail's alive and that she's dying to meet you. And then it just, becomes really creepy, where you see Bray Wyatt's face, and then it like morphs into sort of a woman's face, like you see like white, like a white face, white ghosted face with hair, blocking the face. It was really, really creepy though. And you see just Bray Wyatt laughing, and then a creepy woman laugh, which it was a really crazy promo that Bray Wyatt did. Finally they're making Bray Wyatt seem a little creepy and scary when he's been with WWE since like 2013 or 14. So now they're making Bray Wyatt seem really creepy and scary. So, but all in all, it was a decent segment with Finn Balor. I really enjoyed the Bray Wyatt promo. So, and then we had after that we had Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox and Emma, and just a typical women's match. Wasn't terrible by any means though, but I'd say it was just decent. It was just like I said, typical women's match. You had at one point you saw Sasha. Sasha was bleeding. I guess her teeth, like probably her teeth was knocked out, because you saw blood on the front of her teeth. But not too sure about that though. But Bayley and Sasha ended up win the match with Bayley hitting the Bayley to belly on Alicia. Because at one point you had Alicia try to tag in Emma. Emma, wanted nothing to do with Alicia, and Emma just walked away. So I'm like, I don't know why they're trying to to make Emma there and have her say, oh, I started this whole women's division, when she sucks in the ring. She's shitty in the ring. She's stale. She's just stale in the ring. And pretty much that was basically the match. Bayley to belly, Bayley hitting the Bayley to belly on Alicia. So, but all in all, it was a typical women's match. It was decent. It wasn't terrible. Then we had the main event where we had Enzo come out to address the cruiserweight division, and this is the second time this week that Enzo has come out to address the cruiserweights. When it was the main event last week, when he came out and he started trashing the cruiserweight division. He says that he ends up coming out and saying that all the cruiserweights can go to hell, and if anyone has a problem with him being the champ, they could all go to hell. He ends up saying that he has made 205 Live relevant, and he goes on to say that he's the guy that has been a ratings draw, and he's got skills and athleticism, and that he's the one that's only carrying the whole cruiserweight division. And he ends up saying that all the cruiserweights will not take the title away from him. And he also reveals that he's got another document that was signed by Kurt Angle, and the clause states that if one of the stars on the cruiserweights lays a hand on him, they will be fired. So that clause ended up going in. That clause ended up being signed tonight. That if what Enzo said, that if anybody touched him tonight, they will be fired. And then we had the cruiserweights end up coming out. Enzo ends up retreating out of the ring, and all of them blocked Enzo from escaping. And we just see Enzo just roasting all the cruiserweights again. Calls Brian Kendrick a hobo. He ended up saying to Jack Gallagher to go in the DeLorean and go back to the future. He ends up, calling Neville a Keebler elf. End up calling Rich Swann MC Hammer, saying he can't touch this. And then Kurt Angle ends up coming out. Sorry about that, but I was saying Kurt Angle ended up coming out, saying to Enzo that he has signed a star for the Cruiserweight division. And it was revealed to be Kalisto. And I'm like, really? Kalisto is in the Cruiserweight division? Well, I'm like, since, pretty much he was basically, jobbing out to stars there. Maybe the Cruiserweight division could be better for him and get, his career back on track. Maybe. Hopefully, like I said, Kalisto has been jobbing out to stars, left and right. And he wasn't being used that much. Maybe we'll find him on those jobber shows, like, Main Event. So, but I have to say, Kalisto in the cruiserweights, and now in the cruiserweight division, it could redefine his career, and hopefully he could be much better now in this division. But how the way I see it is that they're possibly going to be setting up this storyline where they might cancel, where WWE might cancel 205 Live because a lot of people don't like it, and people haven't been watching it probably on the network, and they're possibly going to do a storyline where all the cruiserweights blame Enzo for the decline of the division, or maybe there's going to be another superstar shakeup. You never know, where some of the cruiserweights will be on Raw, some of them will be on SmackDown, but who knows what WWE will do. So Kalisto is, like I said, Kalisto is revealed to be the new star that Kurt Angle signed for the cruiserweight division, and we see Kalisto end up taking out Enzo. Kalisto hits Enzo with the Salida del Sol to end the segment. So it was a pretty decent little segment with Enzo and the cruiserweights. Just you see Enzo just roasting all the cruiserweights, and then we cut to Roman Reigns in the locker room. He's just in there. And we see Dean Ambrose there. He just looks at Roman. And then we see Seth come. And, it's all three of the Shield guys. They're teasing this Shield reunion, which by this, this Shield reunion is seeming more and more, true. And that we're actually going to get this Shield reunion. Well, they should have revealed this as a surprise, and not make it seem like we know that they're gonna have a reunion, especially when the DVD when they announced the DVD, a second Shield DVD coming out next year. So, But that was pretty cool to see a little tease of the Shield reunion. So maybe it's there's rumors saying that Shield is gonna have a match at TLC, maybe against Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus. But we'll have to see how that goes. No, it's been talked in articles and reports. So, but it was really cool to see that little tease of the Shield reunion. So yeah. So anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow night for my SmackDown review.